Hello everyone, welcome back to My Wellness Session number 9. Today we are going to talk about dairy in the diet. And first of all, we need to define dairy. Dairy is any liquid milk or product that uses liquid milk in the ingredients that retains the calcium. So for instance, cheese and yogurt would be considered dairy, while butter is not considered dairy. That's more of an oil. And then cream is also really not considered a dairy product as much as a discretionary calorie, probably. And first of all, the government certainly has guidelines on how much dairy we should get in our diet, and this is one area where I differ a little bit from what is recommended, especially for adults. One of the big problems is we eat a lot of dairy unknowingly. We eat cheese on nearly everything, cheeseburgers, pizzas, things like that. So we tend to get a little bit too much real cheese, and then also there are a lot of cheese products, so to speak. It's more of fake cheese, you might say, where it's been re-engineered or reconstituted using oils. So you're mostly getting oil, even though it is called cheese, especially on like nacho cheese or queso dips, things like that. You really need to be careful, and especially because a lot of the oils are what's called hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. We've talked about these in the past. And those are considered trans fats and need to be avoided altogether. So again, liquid cheeses especially, check out the ingredients and make sure there's cheese and not all of the hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated oils. But with that said, children who are still growing definitely need dairy. 2 to 3 cups a day is the recommended for children, and I would agree with that. The only thing there is obviously watch the hormones that are added, the antibiotics that are added. You can buy milk without those additives, and it would be probably a healthier choice for the children. We know that milk is a growth food. It turns a calf into a cow, so obviously helps growth and helps the growth of children as they grow. But how many adults need growth or need a growth food? You know, what are we trying to grow in an adult? And typically, again, it heads towards the waistline probably. And then there's also some research to show that milk can actually help cancers grow. Cancer is a disease that requires growth, and milk can feed that growth. So again, maybe not the healthiest choice for adults. Other people say, well, I've heard yogurt is good for you. And this is a pretty true statement on the surface. Yogurt has probiotics, which are healthy, and a little calcium in them. The problem becomes most yogurt that is healthy doesn't taste so good. So they add a lot of sugars or sugar substitutes to make it taste better, but then you're turning it into more of a dessert. Some yogurts also have no live cultures. You want live cultures for the probiotics. And we'll talk in another discussion about probiotics, but certainly yogurt can be healthy, but in general, I view that more as a dessert and a discretionary calorie. So again, I wouldn't overdo the yogurt. Other things I hear is, well, I heard that low-fat dairy is fine, and to a degree that's a bit of a misconception as well, because when they reduce the amount of fat in the milk, they increase the milk sugars, so you really don't save much by going from 2% to skim or that kind of thing. And a lot of the more recent research actually shows that the fats in milk are not really the problem. Fats that are in milk, and 2% milk, 1% milk, are actually good for the brain, good for the nervous system. So again, if you're going to drink milk, it's not so much which one you're drinking. It's again back to the total quantity of dairy you're getting into your diet, and not just milk, but especially the cheeses that are on, again, everything that we tend to consume. So be cautious there. The other thing is, then people say, well, where am I supposed to get my calcium? You know, I got to get my calcium. I want strong bones. I want to avoid osteoporosis, those kinds of things. And again, some of the more recent research has shown that the countries who consume the most milk or dairy products actually have the highest incidence of osteoporosis and decreased bone density. So there is actually some indication that the consumption of dairy may actually not do what we think it's doing for our bones. So again, not a reason to overload on dairy, in my opinion. And there are alternatives as far as getting calcium into the diet. A lot of the greens that are cooked can contain a lot of calcium. Tofu, tempeh also have a considerable amount of calcium. Even romaine lettuce is a good source of calcium. Not quite as good as milk, but still a very good choice when you come to like broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, these kinds of things also can add calcium to the diet. So if you're consuming enough of those vegetables, again, you don't have to worry so much about getting your calcium from the milk. So again, I'm not saying avoid milk or milk products altogether. Just realize that you get a lot of milk and milk products into the diet even without even trying, typically in the U.S. Diet. So keep it to a minimum would be my suggestion as an adult, again, unless your medical provider has told you for some reason that you need to consume more calcium. But again, a lot of times that suggestion comes from kind of older knowledge that we think we're going to improve bone density with that. And again, you might want to check the research on that as well. And again, children, obviously, we want them to consume some milk products for growth. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you next time.